5 seconds ago. This was a good night. Then you opened your phone. Now you're looking at people you know at another party, wondering when they planned it, what you're missing, and why you never heard about it. Nothing at your table changed. So why did one photo make a good night feel like the wrong one? There's a name for this: fear of missing out, usually shortened to FOMO. The name sounds more dramatic than the feeling usually is. Your brain is not declaring an emergency because your friends found a better pizza place. Researchers describe it more simply: an uneasy feeling that other people may be having a rewarding experience while you're somewhere else, along with the urge to keep up with what they're doing. That sounds straightforward until you remember the strange part. You were already having a good time. The phone explains how you found out about the other party. It doesn't explain why knowing about it changed the night you already had. Before blaming the phone, there's something older to deal with. People are very sensitive to information coming from other people. A small change in someone's expression or voice can tell you that a conversation is going differently than you thought. Researchers tested part of this in 2004. People with a stronger need to belong were better at recognizing emotion from faces and voices, and during social tasks they paid more attention to vocal tone. Nobody was reading minds. They were simply picking up more of the social information already available. And that matters here because missing a gathering can mean missing more than the event itself. Maybe nothing important happened. Or maybe one conversation created tomorrow's plan. If you weren't there, you don't know which one you missed. For a long time, that uncertainty had a very ordinary limit. Suppose you're trying to study while people nearby are getting ready to go out. You hear them laughing and leaving. You know there's another evening happening without you. Then the door closes, and that's basically your final update. Maybe they have an incredible night. Maybe they spent half of it trying to decide where to go next. You find out tomorrow. Before instant updates, information about a missed event often arrived before it happened or after it was already over. Now it can arrive while the night is still unfolding. That changes the experience in a surprisingly simple way. The evening you didn't choose keeps coming back. A photo appears. Later, there's another story from somewhere else. You're not remembering an alternative anymore. You're receiving updates from it. But those updates have an important limitation. You almost never see the whole evening. You see the part somebody thought was worth posting. A 10-second clip can show everyone laughing. It can't show the 40 quiet minutes before somebody finally said something funny. So the other evening arrives as a highlight. You experience yours from beginning to end. There's another problem hiding inside the refresh button. You open the app because you want to know what you're missing, and it works. You get an answer. But 10 minutes later, that answer can already be outdated. In the original 2013 research, people who scored higher on the fear of missing out scale also tended to engage more heavily with social media. The study couldn't tell us which direction the relationship runs. People who already dislike missing social experiences may check more often, but every extra check is also another chance to discover something else they weren't part of. Efficient? Very helpful? That depends. Still, there's an easy explanation we haven't ruled out. Maybe the other option only looks attractive because your current one is bad. Studying on Friday night while your friends go out? That is not exactly a fair competition. Researchers studying everyday episodes found that the feeling appeared more often later in the day, toward the end of the week, and during required activities such as studying. So the more interesting question is harder. What if you already like where you are? Researchers tested exactly that during a sold-out evening event at a science museum. The visitors were already enjoying themselves. Their average rating was 6.34 out of 7. Then some of them were shown information about 6 other attractive events happening in the city at the same time. The museum hadn't become worse. The visitors had simply learned what else they could be doing. And that small piece of information changed what happened next. The people shown those alternatives became less interested in returning to another museum event. Then the researchers asked how much money it would take for them to leave early and go somewhere else. After seeing the alternatives, People were willing to leave for less. And this is the result that really matters. They didn't suddenly regret choosing the museum much more. They still liked the experience. Another attractive option had simply made a good experience easier to leave, which is remarkably close to what happened after you opened your phone, except your photo adds something the museum experiment didn't have. The alternative is personal. Those aren't strangers at another event. They're people you know. So you're not only comparing two places, you may also wonder whether you missed a conversation or a moment you would have wanted to share. And you're trying to judge all of that from a tiny sample of somebody else's night. The photo can be completely real. It's just not the whole evening. That difference is easy to forget when your own night comes with all the waiting, awkward pauses, and ordinary minutes included. None of this means every photo of your friends is secretly ruining your life. The early social media research found relationships between these things, not a simple one-way cause. And even the museum experiment tested a specific situation, not every choice people make. Sometimes you see another party and genuinely don't care. Sometimes the information is useful. The interesting part is that your current experience doesn't have to be bad for a visible alternative to start changing how you value it. That is a much smaller claim, and the evidence for it is much better. So go back to the beginning. 5 seconds before you opened your phone, you were having a good night. The photo didn't prove the other party was better. It made an evening you weren't living available for comparison. And from that point on, you were no longer judging your night by itself. The decision between those two evenings had already been made. But the phone kept showing you selected moments from the road you didn't take. That gives us a better question then. Was the other party actually better? Did the photo actually tell you that you chose wrong, or did it only show you what you couldn't choose at the same time? Wait, that's actually true?